Alright guys, it is now time for part 2 of scoring most of the games I've played in my lifetime on Playnite. If y'all remember, it was last night, I was only able to do a third of them because there was like 360 something games that I had listed. I was only able to do like 120. I thought I was going to get them all done in one stream, but nope. That turned out to not be the case. And of course, there's some new updates too from yesterday as well. Let me go read this message. Alright, so now let's go over here. As you see, this is where we left off in the games I've played from, it's up here somewhere, 10 to 100 hours. And I did some new games on the list too, although all of them are short, so I'm not going to do any score on right now. Donkey Kong Country, which came out in 1994. It's one of those games that came out for the SNES that I'm able to play on the Switch online service. I literally just turned it on for like a few seconds, but didn't play it, so can't say anything about it. And where was the other one at? It's somewhere around here. Oh yeah, here we go. Super Mario All Stars. It was another SNES game that came out in 1993, and it's part of the Switch Online Network service. And it's a remaster of a whole bunch of the Mario games that came out from like 1985 to 1992, or I believe it was. Only played like a little bit of it, so no score on that whatsoever. So right now, because I've done like 120 games, let's see, rank by score. Let's see, because it was just passed it. So right now, the highest scoring game was Kingdoms Reborn and Super Mario 3D World at 85. And it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Monster Hunter World, and Shantae Half Genie Hero of 83. But I'm pretty confident they're going to be beaten. Probably soon. But we're going to find out in a moment as, let's see, rank them by... Come on, go up. Oh, come on, I'm grabbing the slider. Here we go. So I might, in this one, just do the 10 to 100 hours. Because this is a long one. And then afterwards, that's a long one, too. Oh, it went back. Will you stop screwing around, Playnite? It's getting really annoying. Alright. So here we go. Start down here where we last left off. So this is Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. It's, I believe, the sequel to Pokemon Puzzle League. And this came out for Game Boy Color in 2001. I haven't played in a really long time, and I didn't really like it compared to the original Puzzle League, which I'll get to later. It's kind of like Pokemon with Tetris. So, yeah. Wow, an 80? Nah. I know I haven't played in a long time, but did not like it as much compared to Puzzle League. Monster 4x4 World Circuit. The name sounds familiar to, like, Monster 4x4 Masters of Metal, which was a Monster Jam game that came out in 2003. This came out in 2006 for the Wii, or at least... This came out before the Wii came out, but we only got for the Wii. And it was just like a normal monster truck game. Kind of like, not much different from like 4x4 Masters of Metal, only it's just completely circuit racing with upgrades and all that and unique trucks. Just a simple monster truck game. I'd probably give it a 6. I haven't played in a long time. It definitely ain't no 40. That's really bad. It's not that bad. Alright, the next up is Madden Nfl 17, which is a 2016 NFL season of the Madden series that my friend got me for my B-Day back in 2016 for 360. I pretty much said everything I said about like Madden 13 and 16 last stream. Since I have on the 360, it's slow, laggy, freezes a lot. And it was the first Madden, however, that I noticed, I found out that had forced wins, which was really nice, because I like to simulate seasons with the forced wins. But the forced wins on this one, oh god. It does, like, unbelievably stupid results. Like, everyone with a forced win, like, blows out everyone. Like, the worst quarterbacks would have, like, barely 2,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, like, 20-plus interceptions. And that would turn off injuries, so it's not like they were injured and not able to play. They played all 16 games, but they were putting up terrible numbers, whereas the quarterbacks on teams that won all the time would put up, like, MVP numbers. It was really disgusting. Like, teams with, like, the best records have, like, 500, like, plus points to, like, maybe somewhat under 200 points allowed a season. It was just not good in that regard. So I think I'll give it probably a 65 since I didn't really get to play much of it. since that's most of the Madden games from 2012 to 2016 in that regard. This one I tried to play the other day, but wouldn't work on the VBA emulator. BattleBots Design and Destroy. So the game's based upon BattleBots, which is a robot fighting series that used to air on Comedy Central in the late 90s and early 2000s. It was revived a few years ago. I never watched it though. It's just a series where robots fought each other to like time limit or when they were destroyed and all that. This one lets you build your own robot and do fighting in the game. I remember when I first played it, it was really, really hard. Like, the controls are terrible, and the money is really constrictive and all that. And I remember all the times I beat it a lot. Wait, where's yeah, here we go. I guess I beat multiple times, and very difficult. I remember I always had to make a robot with the hammer and just kept spamming it over and over and over again near the robot and just get lucky it landed. And I haven't been able to play it since Adam gave it to me. I think I played it one time in 2018 when he sent me the ROM, but I haven't been able to play it since. And I tried playing it the other day and it just wouldn't load up on the emulator for some reason. So I probably would give it a 65 for right now. Maybe if I played it again and had a better experience with it, maybe we'll get a higher score. Banjo Kazooie, which is a 64 game that came out in 1998. You play as Banjo and Kazooie, which is a bear and a bird that lives in his backpack. And this is one of, I think, no, it was more than 3, but the main games were just 3 of them. And they have to stop Gruntilda, who is a witch that's kidnapped Banjo's sister so she could steal her youthfulness. This game, it's pretty much like Super Mario 64 with a different characters and all that. But it reminds me so much of it too. But good God, this game when I last played it is hard as shit. It even has a cheat system where you can be like unbeatable and all that. And even that, I still couldn't beat the game where I last left off at. It is ridiculously hard. And the cheat system is really funny. It lets you skip boards, but if you do it 3 times, Gruntilda will literally delete your save file, which is pretty funny. And the password system is so stupid, it literally takes like a minute to put even a very small code in. It's really stupid. So right now, unfortunately, I have to give it a low 70 because it's so hard. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. The remake of Diamond Pearl that just came out recently. The game, it's the first main series game that I just did not have fun playing, but that's because of the forced EXP share and no national decks. But unlike the other games, I'll probably be a little bit more fair to it since I at least played it, and it is a remake. Now the times are incorrect. It says I've played for 11 hours. It's almost 30 hours now. I just never updated. Since for the Pokemon games, I refuse to update the times until I actually beat the game, like after the Hall of Fame. That's why I haven't done that one yet. So I'll be generous and give it a 1 instead of flat 0, which it really deserves. Alright, oh boy, here we go. Another one to trigger too. Jurassic World Evolution, which was like the successor to Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which I mentioned. It's a park simulator where you run Jurassic Park. Now, when this came out in 2018, I was looking forward to it. I played a little bit. Now, it's not that I didn't like it per se. It's just I had a bad impression of it. Because when I first played it, the game came across to me that it was a tutorial. That, like, the first island it put you in was just a tutorial and figure out how to do stuff. And then after that, you go, like, back to the main menu and then you can do, like, missions, make your own park and all that, like in Operation Genesis. So I played it for, like, up to, like, 12 hours, I think. And I just kept on, like, what's taking so long for this stupid tutorial to end? Like, come on, let me hurry up and make my own park. Eventually, I found out that, oh no, this wasn't a tutorial, it's the main game, and it doesn't actually let you create your own island like on Operation Genesis. Which is like the main and honestly only thing I wanted to do on that game. So, since it did not have the sandbox feature that I wanted, I had no interest in playing the game ever again. Not only did I stop playing it, it's the only Steam game I bought that I permanently removed. $60 wasted too, but I had no interest in the game once I found out you can't do sandbox like on Operation Genesis. That really, really turned me off immensely. But I think I'll be fair and just give it at least a 70, but it definitely triggered me immensely when it gave me not the option to do sandbox. That should have been there from the start. And the game really did come across me like it was just a tutorial at first, and then you can go back to the main menu and do like sandbox. So that was very bad experience for me in that game. Then next up is ESPN NFL 2K5, like considered the best maybe NFL, but also football game ever that came out in 2004. I've played it. I've only played a little bit of like the actual gameplay, so I don't have much to say about that. I mostly played it for the franchise mode, and like the good things about it were mostly because I played on the emulator, so I can like quickly restart and reload a game if it incorrectly went to the wrong team that I didn't want to win. But the salary cap is like unbelievably restrictive. You can't turn it off either, so it kind of like gimped franchise mode for me in that regard. So not really enjoying it much compared to like Madden's though, but maybe if I play a little bit more of it, it'll be better. Damn, a 99! Wow! Holy crap! Unfortunately though, right now I have to give it a 70, just barely. I have to play it more in order to get a better score of it. Planet Coaster, which is like the successor to Roller Coaster Tycoon. Kind of like the same thing with Planet Zoo that I said in the last stream, where it just doesn't have the same appeal to me as like Roller Coaster Tycoon does. But unlike Planet Zoo, I at least have gotten far into the game and made my own park. It's at least understandable so far, unlike Planet Zoo. So it's fun in that regard, so I'll give it a 78. Rampage Total Destruction is part of the Rampage series, which is the last game of the Rampage series I play, where you play like kids that become like mutated monsters that go around and destroy cities. I liked it, but didn't really play it that much. Wow, only a 61? It's not that bad. Give it a 70. Retro Bowl, my man fix for the Switch. It's like a spin-off remastered version of Tecmo Bowl, which is a game that came out for the NES in 1991. It plays pretty much like it, only better. Handles really well. The controls were really difficult to figure out, but now I got pretty well figured out in all that regard. And the franchise mode is much better. And this also lets you edit teams too, which is something you can't do in Madden. Although it's limited to you can only edit 32 teams, so you can only make like a league of like 32 teams, which kind of sucks. And you can only control one team at a time, which really, really sucks. And you can't control who wins all the games, so you're like running one team, which also sucks too. But it is really, really good. In fact, so good that I am going to give it a 90, which is now the highest score of the game so far. If it let me control the other teams and let me control who wins, it would be much, much higher. It is awesome. Then Wario Land 4, which is part of the Wario Land series, where you play as Wario, which is like a rival of Mario from the Mario series that goes around collecting items and all that. Hard as shit. I played it more recently, but haven't gotten much far into it because it is hard. So I'll maybe be generous to give it a 63. Legends of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which was like, it was one of the Legends of Zelda games for the 64, which was the prequel to Majora's Mask. It's like one of the most popular not just the most popular Legend of Zelda game on the 64, but it's like one of the most popular games on the 64. But like I said, I'm not really into the Legend of Zelda games. And that game, I got quite far into it, but I don't really play it that much. And it was pretty tough at the parts I got stuck at. So I'll just give it a 70. Monster Truck Madness. This was a pretty terrible port of Monster Truck Madness for the Game Boy Advance. You had to go around racing. Pretty tough maps with upgrades and all that in order to unlock trucks. Man, it is tough. So it's not really a good port. Madden NFL 08, which is the 2007 series of Madden. I can't play the game per se, since it's emulated, so it's laggy if I tried playing it. But I did, wow, only a 65 and 74. That's really low. And I played it for PS2, so Wait, no, I played for both PS2 and GameCube. I mostly played it on the PS2 emulator, so I'll put that in. Franchises, just normal franchise and all that. And let me make custom teams and all that, but I haven't really gotten to do much of it, so it's most like it's going to get a lower score than the other Madden since I didn't get to really play it much, but I'll give it a 68 instead of like 70 normal by the other older Maddens. Hearts of Iron Free, which is one of the games that Paradox Interactive made, like with Victoria 2. So I talked about before when I got to Crusader Kings 2. Hearts of Iron and Hearts of Iron Free came out in 2012. It's the Vicky 2 of World War II. It takes all just in World War II. That's it. That's all you play as. Now, this game is extremely complex. I haven't really figured out. But another big problem is that it's extremely railroaded. Where the game, like, literally plays exactly like World War II happened. To the point where you really can't deviate from it. Like, I noticed it too all the times I played. Because I mostly played as, like, I ran in order to figure out stuff. Like, literally, almost every single time. Germany invades Poland like around September 1st. Destroys France by like June of 1940. Invades the Soviet Union in June 1941. Like the game was like scripted to that extent where everything happens like literally at the exact time it did in real life. And I don't like that much railroad that much. I want to be able to deviate from it, which Hoi 4 is much better at. And I haven't figured out enough, and plus I don't like the railroad aspect of it. It's really complex. So I'll have to give it a 60 for right now. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is a sequel for Luigi's Mansion. I've only beaten it one time, and just like with Luigi's Mansion Free, it's just not as interesting good to me as the original Luigi's Mansion. Although I still think it's better right now than Luigi's Mansion Free. So what did I give Luigi's Mansion Free again? I want to give it a higher. I want to make sure it has a higher score. 73. Okay. Go back up. Go back up. Damn it. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. 73, I'll give it a 75 then. Because it's definitely better than Luigi's Mansion Free. Yes, I am more of a monster truck fan than NFL. So anyways, next on the list, Temtem, which is a kind of like a Pokemon RPG-like game that came out in 2020 as like a backlash. Well, people like Furry Retard say it was a backlash to Sword and Shield, but the game was announced back in 2018, so it's not. But it was really hyped up by people that are pissed off with Sword and Shield. Now, I played it. It's not a Pokemon killer. It's really hard, which I don't really like. And also takes a long time. I've played the game for almost 2 years, and I've only gotten past like the first gym, I guess you could say. Because I'm still like training and trying to catch a certain Temtem too that I'm supposed to get for a certain objective. But it's not bad either. But I would probably give it a 73 for right now. Make it easier, make it a little bit quicker, like to get through stuff, and that'll be much better. Growing up, it's a combination of an not RPG, a visual novel combined with a life simulator. This game is really, really good, but there's one little big flaw with it. Is that the stories are like very limited. And they loop, which happened a lot of times when I played. Like, a whole bunch of the characters loop a lot that you meet when you grow up. And I don't like that. I know it's inevitable, unfortunately, but it kind of sucks. That really does hurt it when... I can imagine a scenario where I'm end up being a couple with one of the kids as I go on the story. And then, like, a few generations later, they pop up again. It just doesn't sit right with me. At least Sims does it right with generated characters. But it's definitely very good. So, I'll give it not 70, an 85. Ties for second place right now. Really good, but that really does hurt when it does the, limited characters. So I think they add more characters in, updates, but I haven't played in a while, so I haven't seen yet. Saints Row 4. Alright. I don't want to spoil much of it yet, because I will do eventual playthrough of it. Oh, my phone's almost dying as soon as I got to put on a charger. But y'all seen, like, the last week or so, I've been doing a playthrough of Saints Row. It's like a parody spin-off of like Grand Theft Auto, and it's more comedic, arcadish, and funny. Saints Row 4 is the most recent of the series that came out in 2013. I don't want to say much about it because I don't want to reveal the plot too much until I get to it. But I don't like 4 as much. Of the 4 games of Saints Row, this one's my least favorite. So It still is good, but not as good, so I'll give it just a 70. Haven't played in 8 years almost, too. That's how much not fun I had much playing it compared to the other games. Madden NFL 05, the 2004 season. Same goes for really like Madden 08. Haven't been able to play the games because it's too laggy. Just do franchise. Yada, yada, yada. Just going to give it a 68 for right now. Pac-Man World. It's a game that came out in 1999. It's Pac-Man, but in a 3D world. And it's kind of like a platformer, too. So it's not like normal Pac-Man where you're stuck in a walls, getting the fruit, and defeating the ghosts and all that. It still is fun for a little bit of play of it, though. So give it a 75. Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS, because this is the fourth version of Super Smash Brothers. It came out, there's like 2 separate games where one was for the 3DS and one was for the Wii U. They're the same games but with different characters on them. So I got the 3DS version because, hey, why would I not be able to play Smash on the go? Unfortunately, though, I don't like as much as like Brawl and Melee, which I thought were the best Smash games. Although not as bad as I think Ultimate was. It didn't butcher classic mode as much as Ultimate did, but I didn't enjoy it as much. So let me go check the review I did for Ultimate again once I find it. Gotta search it up. Let's see, I gave a 75. Okay, so I have to at least give it a 75 because it's just as good, but it's better. Now I gotta find it again. Here we go. I'll give it 78 then. Alright. Transport Fever. It's not from the same people that made like Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster, but it's basically the same thing where it's a transport simulator game that's like the spiritual successor of Transport Tycoon Deluxe, which you all seen me play over the years as Open TDD. And this one I don't like that much, sadly. Right now, I can't even really play because it's so laggy. It takes forever to load up the game like when you want to start off a game, which is really bad. It takes like 5 minutes to do so. It's unbelievably hard. Like, if you make one screw up with like the track layout or something like that, you can't start over. So I have to save a lot of times before I do a new track, which is pretty bad. It's very, very, very difficult. And unfortunately, I just don't like it much. I literally can't even play right now on the desktop, and I have no idea if it's because of the graphics card, because every time I try to load up, it plays the music, but the game has a black screen to the point where I can't see anything, so I'm forced to crash the computer. So, yeah, I gotta give it, I'll be generous to give it a 65 for right now. If it wasn't as laggy, if it was easier, I would probably give it a higher score. Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is a classic funny one. It's a platformer that came out in 2001 based upon Conker. I have not played Transport Fever 2 yet. I don't have that, and I don't have a good feeling of it based upon Transport Fever. So anyways, Conker's Bad Fur Day came out in 2001. It's a platformer based upon Conker. Now this game, Conker is a squirrel, and there was 2 games that came out like for the Game Boy Color in 1998, 1999, all that. This is like the third and last game in the series, but they did a massive overhaul in the game where the game is M-rated, and it's hardcore like adult shit on it. It is really funny. The game, like the story, is unbelievably funny, but the gameplay, just like Ed and Eddie's Misadventures I said in last stream, is not good. Controls suck, hard as shit. And there's a spot in the game, because I haven't played it in a long time, where I'm stuck because in order to go forward into the game, I need cash. But I can't get any more cash, and the only place I can get, which is not even enough of it, I can't even jump up there to get it, so I'm like stuck. So story-wise, it's really funny, but gameplay, it's not good. It's better. You're better off just watching like a movie of like the cutscenes of the game in order to really enjoy it. So it doesn't deserve a 70, but I'll give it a 70 just because of the cutscenes. They're like, the story is just that funny. Alright. Next up, Hamtaro Ham Hams Unite. Which I did a YouTube series of this back in 2019. As I mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of the Hamtaro series when it came here in 2002. In this game, you play as Hamtaro and you have to go around find all of his ham buddies. And it's like a dictionary-like game where you have to pick like certain words in order to use in a certain context in order to find things and stuff like that. It's pretty difficult because of you have to find a correct spot. the correct words and the correct time to use and all that. It's pretty difficult. But I still liked it, although I liked the sequel of it better. Yeah, I think I'll give it a 70 as well. Alright, The Simpsons Road Rage, which is Crazy Taxi, but with The Simpsons. It plays just like Crazy Taxi, just in the Simpsons universe instead. A whole bunch of characters from the Simpsons universe. Unfortunately, most of them you gotta unlock by getting a whole bunch of money, and the money requirements are like really, really high. And you have to either spend them on getting a character or a new map, which is really unfair because it's so much money you need. The missions are cool. A lot of them. There's one we had to play as Lisa and destroy a whole bunch of log sites. That one was so impossible for me to beat. I had to skip it. Thankfully, the game lets you skip it. It's simple, but I honestly liked it more than Crazy Taxi. I like not the background, not the lore, the story, I guess, of it being based on The Simpsons, and the controls handle much better than it did for me on Crazy Taxi, and it's a lot more fun. So I gave all the Crazy Taxi games a 7. This one's going to get a 75 instead. Wow, low scores. 58-62 for him. Scarface The World Is Yours. It's like a sequel to the Scarface movie of 1983. This is a game where you play as Tony Montana. It's like a alternate history of Scarface where he doesn't get killed at the end of the movie and escapes from his mansion, and you have to build up his empire again. This game is fucking hard as shit. I can't beat it without cheating a lot, and you have to cheat a lot, and a lot of pause in order to put those cheats in. Going around doing Rampage and killing people is fun, but the game is like way too hard to be enjoyable, so gotta give it a 60 for that. Hulk, it's a movie adaptive of the Hulk movie. It came out in 2003. The game was too hard. There was a cheat code that led you to a special like mission where you could just destroy things for like 10 minutes until you die or something like that to run out of time. That was fun. That's mostly what I played it for, but yeah, not really good otherwise. SimCity 4, which was the last game of the SimCity series that I played, which I mentioned before when I talked about the original SimCity. It's a game where you run a city simulator. I did not like this one. It's way too hard. I've never been able to make money in a city. Even when I cheated and gave myself like infinite money at the start and just tried to build as much stuff as possible, just try and make as much money as possible. Nope. Still couldn't make money on it. So, not really. Yeah, no. It doesn't deserve that score. Sorry. It's just not good. Like my least liked SimCity of the games. Thank God I didn't play the SimCity game that came out in 2013 because, ooh, God, that'd be terrible. That game sucks. EU3, it's like it's EU4, just older. Played it. Not really enjoying as much right now, and plus it's just difficult to learn like EU4, so I'll give it a 65 for right now. Juiced Eliminator, I've streamed playing this back in 2020. It's the sequel to Juice, which I mentioned before, is a street racing game where you can buy cars, build them up, and race and all that. It's literally the exact same game pretty much as Juiced, only on the PSP. And I guess I didn't want to talk about this when I talked about Hot Import Nights, which is the last game in the Juice series, but I guess I'll talk about it here. Juiced and Midnight Club 3 are like the two main racing games I play, and it's a really hard time to pick between each one of them. Like, graphically, I liked Juice better, especially when it comes to looking at cars, and the graphics actually show up too when you race, whereas on Midnight Club 3, the graphics of the game only show up in the garage when you work on the cars, but the graphic quality massively goes down. I'll get to that eventually, but it's probably not going to be till much later on. So, okay, let me just get rid of that for a moment. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Graphically, Midnight Club 3 looked better in the garage, but the quality massively went down when you did race and all them. Both games are really, really, really hard in different ways and all that. Midnight Club 3, it was more arcade-ish and it gave you like arcadey like upgrades and power-ups to help you go for the game, but it's still very hard. Juice is more realistic, but it has like rubber band AI where it becomes like very easy at the start but extremely difficult very on. It like fucks you over immensely. And it's a toss-up between which one I like. That's why I like Hot Import Nights better, because it's much more easier, at least so far from what I've played. What did I give Juiced? Hot Import Nights. Need to check again. Let's see. I gave it a 75 right now. Alright, so it's not going to get as high score as Hot Import Nights because I think that's better because it's easier. Where is it at again? It was like 19 hours or so. Here we go. So, I'll give it maybe a 70 for right now. Very fun at the beginning, but like unfairly hard at the later on. Same goes for the original game it's based upon. Destroy All Humans Path of the Furon, which is the last game of the Destroy All Humans series. I don't want to talk about because I don't want to reveal the plot of it, since I plan on doing a playthrough of that in the future. Now, in terms of like destructiveness, because you can destroy cities in it just like all the other games, I kind of liked it more. It's like more realistic and more up to date. The story's good, but the gameplay not as wow. Critic, wow, 30? At least the fans are more generous. I would probably give it a 73 at least for story, because the story arc was really very interesting. But it's not my favorite of the Destroy All Humans games. Next is I was just playing this earlier today. Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2022, I think it was. Yeah, this is the 2021 version of Draft Day Sports, which is the sequel to Professional Football Simulator. If you all remember, which I do PFA and UFL on. It's just a football league simulator where you run a football league. It's just a text-based game, too. This one's more up-to-date, though. Some things they did better, but a lot of things I thought they did worse with Draft Day Sports. The game takes a lot longer to load up. Like, if a team that I didn't win won wrong, I have to reload the game to fix it. It takes a longer time to load up, unlike PFS. There was another problem again. What was it? Oh, no hotkeys so far I know, because normally if I hit load on PFS, it would be like Control O. That doesn't work in here, so I have to manually go back and reload, which takes a long time and all that. Some things I like better about, but some things I don't. And those problems make it not as enjoyable compared to PFS. But hey, run your own football league and all that is always really fun, so I'll give it an 80 at least. But it's not as good as PFS. Powerpuff Girls, Relish, Rampage was the only other Powerpuff Girls I played. Where adventure, we go around Townsville, stopping all the villains in there. And of course, an alien invasion happens too, which is unique to the game. Didn't like it. Way too hard, unfortunately. Maybe one day I'll go back to it, but man, was it hard and unfun. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was another street racing game that came out. It was based upon the movie Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. This game is like some reason so obscure. Haven't really seen much about it despite me finding it at GameStop. So the game is, I haven't gotten really far into the game because it is punishingly difficult later on. Graphically, it's not as good like Midnight Club 3 and Juiced, even though this game came out later. This came out in 2006. The other games came out in 2005. Not as good in that regard, but I'm not going to give it a 50. I'll give it a 60 at least. Pokemon Japanese Red. There we go. Finally into the main series Pokemon games. These are the original main series Pokemon games that came out in 1996. Japanese Red and Japanese Green. They play just like Red and Blue as we know them here, only in Japanese, which normally is not a problem because like beating the games in Japanese. The only problem is, unlike the later games, it doesn't show you the stats nor the colors of like the highlighted moves, which I could easily then tell which move it is. So I have to like write down what I think the move is and write down later on when I play it. So not as enjoyable as the other ones, but still really, really loved it. I'll give it though, since it's not doesn't have the like nostalgia of it, I'll give it an 80, and I'll go for Japanese Green as well. Now, if it wasn't for it having a terrible display, for the games. Like, it would at least show me the colors of the moves so I know what they were in Japanese regardless. It would definitely get higher up like the other ones. Command and Conquer, what's the Tiberium Sun? Yeah. Oh, Tiberian Sun. Okay. So, this is the sequel to Command Conquer Tiberium Dawn, which was the very first Command Conquer game. It takes place in the Tiberium universe. I don't really want to get too much into it, because I want to save it for like the first game, but this is the sequel to it. Basically, a Tiberium universe starts off in 1995, where a meteor crashes into Earth, and this meteor contained an alien substance called Tiberium, which is a green crystal substance that terraforms the planet and kills you within like a minute of contact with it, and it leads into like 4 massive Tiberium Wars, which Tiberium Sun takes place in the second Tiberium War of 2030 between the Global Defense Initiative, or GDI, which is pretty much all of the world's military powers united against the Brotherhood of Nod, which is like a quasi-religious terrorist organization that's trying to spread Tiberium around the world in order to achieve ascension for their leader, Kane. I did not like this that much. I haven't really gotten far in either campaign as GDI or Nod. Pretty hard as well, so unfortunately I'm going to have to give it a low rating for a Command & Conquer game. That's probably like, outside of Tiberium Twilight, oh god, just think of that name again. That's probably like my least liked Command & Conquer game. Zoo Tycoon, this one I've played for both the PC and the DS too. They played a lot on the DS, which I think I have coming up later on. So Zoo Tycoon, you all see me play Zoo Tycoon 2 for stream back in a month or so ago. This is the original one that came out in 2001. It's just as hard, really, as the second game, but I eventually figured it out. Maybe if I played it again, I'd probably understand more. But there's not much to say about it, at least for right now, because it's been a long time since I last played, so I'll at least give it a 70. It's still at least tolerable. Reader Rabbit, second grade. This is a whole bunch of another thing I played a lot back in the 90s and early 2000s with a lot of edutainment games for the PC. And one of them is the Reader Rabbit series, which is a game where most of them, other than like one I've played, where you play as Reader Rabbit, who's a rabbit, and goes on adventures depending on the game, and you have to do like missions and stuff based upon like your grade in school. So all like the stuff in here is based upon like stuff that are like second grade level, like education wise. Although this one was a lot different from the ones I played growing up more. So I didn't like this one as much, and it was hard because, oh god, when I got into it was second grade, but a lot of the stuff was more like third grade, and ooh boy was it hard. And I eventually beat it. I don't know why it doesn't have it, because I did beat it for the first time back in 2014 when I had to burn the disc again. So let me do that. Times beat. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was in July of 2014, so I'll put that in. It doesn't have as much nostalgia to me, though, because I didn't really play it as much. I don't know why it says 1998. It came out in 2001. So I think I'll give this one a 65. Although it did have one cool part where you can make like your own bug, which was really fun. I did that the most. Jurassic Park. This is the arcade shooter of Jurassic Park, the media franchise. This one I played at Chuck E. Cheese a lot. I did a YouTube video of it back in 2020. It's fun, but it's hard as shit. And I honestly think the game is scripted. I need to play it again one more time on the emulator I have and not shoot at anything and see if the health bars go down anyway, because I think a lot of it's mostly just scripted. It's just whether or not if you're going to take less health and burn through so many more tokens at there. But it's... What? No! It's good! Come on! Really? A 35? No! 78. It good, it's just very hard, and I think it's scripted, but that's mostly because of arcade games. That's how all arcade games are. They're hard as shit as possible to make you spend more coins on them. Hey You Pikachu, a shooter, not really. Hey You Pikachu was another game that came out in 2000, Pokemon, and it actually came, well, it didn't come with because I didn't get it, sadly, but there was a special Hey You Pikachu themed Nintendo 64, which I really wanted, but I couldn't get, sadly. I could only get the game, though. It's a game where you're a Pokemon trainer and you have to watch a Pikachu for like, I think it was like a year in the game time, and it came with a microphone that you talk to Pikachu with, and all that crap. It was really interesting, but it was also really hard to figure out. But it's mostly because I didn't know what you had to do and all that. And I can't sadly really... I still have the mic to play it, but I can't like do a video series on it yet right now. So sadly I've got to give it a 60 for right now if it just let me type it in. But it is an interesting game. Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories? Yeah. So GTA Liberty City Stories, which I plan on doing a YouTube series on this sometime maybe this year since I've done San Andreas last year. GTA Liberty City Stories is a prequel to GTA 3 that takes place in 1998. And, God, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But you play as one of the characters that you had to do missions for in GTA 3. The game is hard, even with cheats, but I think that's more to do with being on the PSP and the controls are really different. But it was still kind of cool and all that to go through Liberty City. I definitely like it more than GTA 3, but I haven't played it in a long time, so I'll give it 73, I guess. And of course, when I play it, I don't know if I'm going to do a PSP or the PS2 emulator when I get around to it. Oh, my leg. Oh, God. Alright. Next up. I'm not going to talk about the story of this one right now because its first game come up. Big Mother Truckers 2, which came out in 2005. I'm not going to say much about it yet because the games come up. I'll talk about that when I get to it later. But right now I'll say I like it better than the original one. It's much better, but it's still pretty difficult. Not difficult, but it's just a long time. And I had never beaten it though because it just takes too long. So I'll give it a 70 at least. Victoria Revolutions, which is Victoria 1. You all see me play Vicky 2? There's the original Victoria Revolutions. And oh boy, this game is hard as shit. And it's not scripted like I think EU3 is, but it's not easy whatsoever. It's very restrictive how you play, although it does have interesting ways you can run factories compared to Vicky 2 and your population and literacy gains. Rebels are much harder. You can't get alliances, or at least I can't ever get alliances. No matter what, I can't get allies with anyone, no matter how many times I try to fix up the relationship, anything. And this is really sad about the game, if you're all ready to hear this. Like, you know in Vicky 2, there's like infamy limit. If you go over 25 infamy, everyone gets a cause ability to attack you. That's here on Vicky 1 as well, but you can't see it. In order to see it, I kid you not, you literally have to cheat. You have to put a cheat code in just to see your infamy. That's just sad. Very, very sad. That's pretty bad. Nowhere near as good as Vicky 2. I probably would... I figured out somewhat, but if it wasn't for that Alliance crap and the Rebels, I probably would like the game more, but unfortunately I have to give it a low score right now because of that. Fix the Alliance structure, fix the Rebels, and it would be much better. Because I do know a lot about the game, it's just not getting the allies and dealing with the stupid Rebels. Because I've done a pretty good job playing like as Argentina and two Sicilies until I get game ended by Brazil or the UK out of nowhere for some reason. Alright. Next up, Crazy Taxi. I've already said what I said about the games before. 70 at least. Here we go. Now, here we go. Big Mother Truckers. This is the original of Big Mother Truckers 2. So, anyways, the plot of Big Mother Truckers is you play as one of 4 kids that are, whose mother runs a trucking company. It's just her. And she's going to retire in 2 months. And she's going to give the business to whoever makes the most money trucking. Now, so you have to go around delivering, like, supplies to, like, different cities and all that as quick as possible in the most efficient way possible. The game is, like, impossibly hard. It's not hard to, like, deliver stuff and all that. It's too hard in terms of making enough money in order to get far into the game. I've never been... I've always been, like, 4th place, and I just give up before I even get to the end of the game. Like, it's impossible to get out 4th place in my experience. Like, your siblings in the game, just no matter what, would always have, like, gargantuan amounts of money. It's like money hand over fist. Unbelievable. So I don't like it as much. So I gotta give it a lower score. Now, the 2, on the other hand, it takes place right afterwards where your mother gets arrested and you have to go around bribing the verdict instead. Now, the problem with that game is it's easier, but it's hard. I mean, not harder, but longer because the amount of money you need to get to bribe them is so ridiculous it just takes way too long. But it's much better than the original. All right, man. This says Madden Football 64. It's a 1997 version of Madden. Never played it other than to like simulate, and I didn't really like the simulate and all because you literally have to simulate a bunch of games into the week and just hope the game goes your way before the other games can be simmed. So, not good. Not good at all. It was much better on the PS1 I've played version of it, because I mostly played on the 64, but just not that good. Alright, Reckless, the Yakuza missions. It's a game that came out for the Xbox in 2002. I actually re-got last year, but I haven't played it in almost a year, as you can see. It's a racing game. It's two arcs of it, where on the one hand, you play as I think it took place in I think it actually takes place in Hong Kong, because it doesn't take place in Japan, I think, even though it involves the Yakuza, which is a Japanese crime organization. But you play as two police women. On the other hand, you play as two men who are spying in the Yakuza to try and bring them down too. And it's a racing game where you have to go around doing like different objectives. It's not just like racing, it's a whole bunch of different things and all that. Graphically, it's probably the most beautifulest N60 up there. It's like one of the most beautifulest Xbox game ever. Now, driving wise, it's really tough. Like really, really tough to drive. And another thing that really annoys me, the game isn't necessarily probably hard other than maybe a few missions. The annoying thing about what's maybe stopped playing for right now is because there's a whole bunch of unlockable cars in the game, but in order to unlock them, you have to find them on the map, hit them, and then you have to beat the mission. And a lot of those missions, especially one I'm on, which has one of the two monster trucks, because yeah, there are monster trucks you could drive in this game, and my favorite one's on the mission I'm stuck on, which I've already beaten, but in order for me to get that monster truck, I have to go out of my way, hit it, come back, beat the mission. And that mission's tough enough to beat on its own. So, in order to get that monster truck and beat the mission time, you have to get, like, precise on every single thing. Like, one screw up, you have to restart all over again. So, unfortunately, the game is... That's, like, the hardest thing, getting the cars. I'll give it a 70. If it was only just hit the car and that's it, that would be much better. Alright. So, next up on the list is Shrek 2, which is another game movie tie-in of Shrek 2 when it came out. This one is really good. It's an adventure, fighter, and a platformer where you play as 4 characters in the Shrek universe. It follows pretty much the movie to a T in terms of like the plot and all that. There are some parts that are really hard, but it is really fun. Although I think it kind of lagged a lot when I played it, emulated back in July when I played it. I hope to eventually do a YouTube series on it if I try it again. But it's really fun. Although there are some parts that are really hard, so I'll give it a 78. Monster Jam Urban Assault, which is it's the second to last Monster Jam game I played. It's the sequel to Monster Jam, which came out in 2007. This has more trucks in it, more arcade-ish like things in it. More tracks and all that. It's just solid. Just playable, but I don't like it as much nowadays because of Riggs and Rods and BeamNG, but it gets at least a 70. Monster Jam Path of Destruction, which is the last Monster Jam game I played. Same thing. Wow, 49. That's way too low. But it's pretty much like Urban Assault, but with... I think it has less trucks overall, but has more updated trucks. The physics are still kind of crap like the other games. Doesn't handle really well whatsoever. The one good thing it has, it lets you make your own custom trucks, which is really nice, although it's unfortunately really limited though. But of like the Monster Jam, Urban Assault, and Path of Destruction, it's definitely going to get the higher score because the make your own truck, so 75. But I haven't played in a long time. You see, like 10 years. Madden NFL 2002. It's the 2001 season of Madden. This one, I haven't played at all, like, the gameplay, because it's on the 64 and it would handle really bad with the controller. But franchise mode, I haven't played this one as much like 2001. But it's really good in terms of emulate. You can easily go back and reload a save state if the team you didn't want to win fix it, and it does the playoff seedings correctly, which is a major thing in my part that I really care about. So I'll give it a 78. Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak. This is my favorite of the Hamtaro games, but it's a lot more harder, believe it or not. But same thing as Hamtaro Hams Unite, but you have Bijou coming along with you as Hamtaro, and you have to go around stopping, I can't remember his name. Basically, he's the, not the devil, but, like, the devil in terms of, like, breaking Ham's hearts. So he tries to, like, break up couples in the game, so you have to, like, stop him and help Harmony, who's the, angel hamster, to reunite couples and all that. I remember getting really far into the game, and I got stuck at one point. Ugh, that sucks. I hope to play that again in the future. But I definitely it's my favorite of the Hamtaro games, so what did I give Ham Unite? Let's see. What did I give it? Because a 70. Alright. It's my favorite of the Hamtaro games, so it's going to get a higher score than 70. And I need to do a YouTube playthrough of that eventually. I've been wanting to do it for like the last 3 years. So I'll give it a 75. Command Conquer Red Alert. Oh, 2 Yuri's Revenge. I'll save the plot for that when I get to it. But I haven't beaten the story, though, as either the Allies or the Soviets. And I don't like playing Yuri's faction. It's too gimmicky, and I don't like that. But the game's still fine itself, so I'll give it a 70. Here's the original, Command and Conquer. Like I said, this takes place in the first... This is the first game in the Command and Conquer series. I already explained the plot of the Tiberium series. Meteor crash into Earth, Tiberium spreads everywhere, terraforming planet, GDI Nod fighting each other. This takes place in 1999 to 2002 in the first Tiberium War, which GDI won. The game, there's no skirmish mode, which I don't like in this game. The only way you can do skirmish is multiplayer, which I can't do in this game, sadly. And the game is really hard. Haven't gotten far really whatsoever as Nod or GDI. So the plot I liked. Wait, what did I give? What was the game I gave the score of? Oh, Tiberium Sun. I like the story more in Tiberium Dawn, which this is what's called affectionately Tiberium Dawn, although it's officially called Command Conquer. I'll give it give it a 73, but the game is still hard as shit. Chase Hollywood Stunt Driver. Any of you might remember Stuntman, which we'll get into probably in the third part of the series, but it's a racing game where you are a movie stunt driver. We have to go around doing stunts. The game is really short, and it actually is, I think, I haven't played in a long time, but I think it's easier overall than Stuntman. But it's still overall not as enjoyable. It has a stunt, it's not a stunt construction area, but it has a map where you can do like stunts like at your own free time. It has a monster truck in it too, but I just didn't like it as much as Stuntman, despite being much easier. But it still is at least a 70. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duelist of the Roses. I streamed playing this last August. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game with a little bit of a spin-off. It takes place in the War of the Roses, which is an English Civil War. It took place in the 15th century. And all the characters based upon the War of the Roses are Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters, and you have to fight as in Yu-Gi-Oh! Style. Although the gameplay is not at all like normal Yu-Gi-Oh! It combines like forbidden memories and other mechanics in the game. This game was unbelievably hard playing. I did not like it growing up. Then I got back to it again. I understood a lot better because it's like forbidden memories. But still it's kind of hard. But hey, I haven't lost a duel since I got back to it. So I might be figuring it out right now. But I probably still am going to give it a lower score though, because of the massive difference from all the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. Oh man, this is one I haven't played in a long time. Spider-Man 2, another movie spin-off, movie tie-in game. This takes place based upon Spider-Man 2, which came out in 2004. This is really, really cool because it was kind of like GTA, but Spider-Man, where you can free roam in sandbox mode across New York City, going around on your leisure, fighting crime and all that, getting up your stats, and then continue on the story of the game, which mostly ties in with the movie, although there's some deviations of it. The game was really hard though, but the game itself was really, really fun with that like sandbox aspect to just go around New York City. So I'm gonna give it an 80. I'm sure if I play it again, it probably won't be as good, though. But who knows? Maybe if I play it again, I'll probably be better about it. Madden 06, this is the 2005 season of Madden NFL. I played it only on the PSP. The gameplay... franchise mode is... I don't know if... no, I don't think, sadly, it has the correct playoff scenes, which is a major F in my part. And, of course, it doesn't have create teams, which sucks because it's the PSP version. The controls are a lot different, so it's a lot difficult to figure out, and there's a lot of graphical glitches, too, with it, so... And the simulation... Remember what I said earlier about Madden 17 having, terrible simulated stats where teams that win have, these unbelievable stats, but the teams that lose have terrible stats? I remember showing one time, one game I did, where I showed it on Madden, a franchise mode I did in Madden 06, where Michael Vick, the Falcons went, 4-12 or something like that. He had 5 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, just stupidly bad. So I'm gonna have to give this one a 60 instead. Civilization Beyond Earth. This is a spin-off to Civilization 5. It's a Civilization game, but it takes place off of Earth. It takes place on alien worlds, so you have to go around and you mostly take places like corporations of countries. You have to land on these planets, terraform them to your liking, deal with the alien life to either kill them, exterminate them, or become harmonious with them and all that. It plays just like any other Civ, plays just like Civ 5, which is good and all that. I do like the story of playing a alien world and terraform it. The one thing I don't like though is the web tree, because it's terrible. Instead of being just a straight line across, it dissects a whole bunch of different things, and I don't like that. But still, it's good. Wow, the community gave it a terrible score. I'll give it a 75. I'm actually surprised how low it got from the community, because the community, in my experience, did like it. That's really weird. I just want to check something on Twitter really quickly. As next up on the list is Mario Party Superstars. I'm checking Twitter really quickly. Alright, let me just check this really quickly. So anyways, Mario Party Superstars is the most recent Mario Party game, which you've seen me play a lot on Adam's channel. It's just Mario Party. It's a remastered version of Mario Party where it has maps from Mario Party 1 through 3 and has all the Mario Party games from 1 through 10. The game is really, really fun. The only problems I have with it is that a lot of the I don't like a lot of the mini game choices they did, like fucking Castaways. Oh god, that's trash. Some of the controls they changed, I've noticed, and I'm not as good on the games like Later Skater, which I was really good at on Mario Party 5, but I'm not as good at now. And there are games where I'm not as good at before, but now I'm better, which is a good thing. The one thing I would wish they did, though, is I want them to do a DLC, even though I hate DLCs, but this game deserves a DLC where they need to add more maps. I want them to add at least one map from 4 through 10, and maybe make a unique map for this game. And I want them to maybe add more mini games or make unique mini games to it. It's too much like a remaster of 1, 2, and 3 with games from 4 through 10. But otherwise, this game is unbelievably fun. You know what? We're going to go high on this one. I'm going to give it a 95, which now is the highest record game beaten Retro Bowl. If it wasn't for if they do what I say and do the DLC for it and add more maps and mini games, then I'll go all the way up to 100. It's really good. That game is up there as one of my favorite Switch games right now, and now it's my high scored game right now of all time, with second being Retro Bowl. All right, so go up here. All right, next up on the list is the movies. Hey, we're finally halfway through now. Yay! Anyways, the movies. It's a PC game that came out in 2005. It's a business simulator where you run a movie studio company where you make movies. It's fun to do that, and I can make money of them even though they are not necessarily good movies. They still make a lot of money of them. The big problem, though, with the game that I do not like is, one, there's a sandbox mode, but it starts off in 1930, whereas the story mode takes place in 1925. I don't like that. Like, why do you make the years different? That's, like, really dumb. They should have fixed that. But the big problem I have with this movie, I mean the game, is it's really hard, not in terms of making money, but it's the stars. Your stars and your directors, because they're like some of the most whiny, emotional, needy motherfuckers I've ever seen. They fucking cry about everything. I'm not making enough money compared to these actors. I don't have an entourage. My appearance isn't good. My trailer is shit. I'm being overworked. So I'm gonna pout instead of work on the movie. I'm gonna go get drunk. I'm gonna go indulge on food and all that. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Like, they're just never satisfied. That's the one thing that holds the game back. If that was easier to manage, that would make the game better. But it still is a good game. 78. Alright, Pokemon trading card game. This is the, I've streamed playing this back in 2020. It's the Pokemon trading card game, which is just a trading card game based on Pokemon. It's good. I do like the old Pokemon trading card game, but this game is really difficult, though, sadly. And that kind of holds it back, so I'll give it a 73. Golf with your friends is a golfing game. It's very arcadish. You can make your own maps on it. I've streamed a lot of times with Adam on Adam's channel when he plays it. Hey, nice to see you here, Top-O-Matic. Hope you enjoyed your commentary earlier. The one thing there's a lot of things I don't like about this game, though. The controls are really fucked up, where the power meter, like, is inconsistent as hell. The maps, although this isn't necessarily the game's fault, it's more of like the people who make the maps that make like trollish maps, which we've experienced a lot of times in the game, which really hurts it too. So, not as good as I wished, but it still is good. Give it a 70. I guess a 75. Like, that was a tough one. I was stuck between like 70 or 75 or 78. Alright. Next up is Mario Tennis, which came out in 2000 for the 64. It's Mario on tennis. Nothing else to say about that. It's tough on some of the maps I'm on. I mean, when I last played it, but still fine. I'll give it, though, a 70 at least. NFL head coach. It's a spin-off of Madden, where instead of you play as a head coach and you try to build up a team, and you don't play Madden whatsoever. Like, it is Madden, but you don't play it. Instead, you call play, and then your team just automatically does it and all that. Hey, wait. Wait, so you said you done it? Wait, I asked you earlier if you sent a run before, and you said you didn't. So, was that your first time doing a commentary to me or not? Because I'd like to make sure the information's correct from the other one. But anyways, you don't play the game, you call play, and your team just automatically does it. This game is really, really, really long. It's very in-depth, but it's like too much in-depth for me for my liking. And since I can't actually play the game, just pick a play and just watch what happens, it's just not really as fun to me in that regard. Plus, there's a lot of glitches too in the game, so I don't really like it that much. Give it a 60. If it was easier, maybe let you play the games a little bit, it would probably be better. Otherwise, it would probably just be like Madden. Pokemon Conquest. I've been wanting to do a YouTube series of this all the way back since 2016, and I hope to maybe do it this year. Pokemon Conquest is a spin-off game. It's Pokemon, and it's based upon a Japanese game series. Like I can't remember his name off the top of my head, so I don't want to say it, but Ambitions. It's like a tactical game, RPG, but based upon the Pokemon universe. We have to go around fighting with Pokemon in order to take over castles and all that. It's really good. It's pretty tough, though, later on in the game. And I want to eventually get to it, maybe have a action replay code. That way I can just catch up to the levels I need to go at. But it's really good. 83. Shrek. This was the very first game I played on the Xbox, too, when it came out in 2001. Based upon Shrek, although it has literally nothing to do with the movie itself. It's just Shrek like in its own alternate game series where Fiona was kidnapped by a person named Marilyn. This game is hard as shit, doesn't handle too well, and just isn't that good. So there you go, 50. Okay, so that was your first commentary you sent me, right? Just making sure of that. So anyways, Mario Golf, I talked about in the last one, I talked about Toastal Tour. It's just golf. I liked it better than Toastal Tour, though. So, let me see. What did I give Mario Golf? I gave it a 60. It's going to get higher than that. This one I enjoyed a lot more. Doing like mini golf on here. Where's it at? Where's it at? Alright, here we go. Haven't played in a long time. Give it a 70. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. Alright, oh, this is going to be fun, nostalgic. Tonka Search and Rescue, Tonka Raceway, and Tonka Garage. One thing I played a lot back when it came out in 1996 and 1999, Tonka, which is a toy maker, which makes like a lot of Tonka toy trucks and all them. From 1996 and 1999, they made 5 video games for the PC. Tonka Construction, Tonka Construction 2, Tonka Garage, Tonka Search and Rescue, and Tonka Raceway. Tonka Construction 1 and 2, you go around doing like things in Tonka Town, fixing up vehicles, working like building up a city, desert, quarry, snowy hills and all that in both games. Garage takes place in like where you work on cars and upgrade them and fix them and all that. Raceway is where you do racing, and Search and Rescue is where you Tonka Academy you have to save, rescue people from like natural disasters and all them. They're all like edutainment. They're very short, but they're very, very fun. I actually got them on a virtual box too, which I hope to eventually play later. I'm going to give all of them each a 75. Although Raceway I haven't played in a long time because the game kept glitching out a lot. When I used to have it on my 98, which I have out front, I'm still going to give it a 75. And Tonka Construction 2 actually might get a higher score than that, because that game, you can literally make your own town in that game. And it's really, really fun. But that's going to be a while before we get to that, because I played so much as a kid. Madden NFL 25. This is the 2013 season of Madden NFL. Now, if you remember on the last stream where I said when Madden 13 came out, there was so many things wrong with it that I returned it the next few days, so gave it a 0 score. They fixed 25 a little bit. They replaced Connected Career with Connected Franchise, which was much better, but still not better as classic franchise mode from the older Maddens. But the problems with the game still persist, like I said, about all the Madden games from like 2012 to 16, where the game is slow, laggy, freezes, glitches, and all that. So, it's still not really that good, but it at least was a lot better than 13, so I would probably give it a 68. Madden NFL 18, this is the 2017 series of Madden that my dad got when he got the PS4. Now, this was the only game I played on the PS4 when he had it. This was the at the point when I played this in 2019, it was the most modern Madden I played at the time. It was a breath of fresh air. The things I like about it, I did not like playing on the PS4 though, because I really do not like the PS4 controls I talked about when I did my video game console rants like last month. But I do like that you can edit the players. That's a massive plus. I can control the teams who I want to win, like the force win, all that, which is really good. And I like the playoff seedings being correct. So that was really, really good, because that matters to me, because when I play Madden, I usually play Madden more to like do a franchise mode where I control all the teams and try and simulate them throughout the 30 years. And so if y'all remember my Madden 09 series I've been doing for years, and my Madden 21 series I've been doing too as well. So this one is going to be really high in that regard, so I'll give it an 83. I would give it a lot more if it let you make your own teams and edit the other teams like the older Maddens do, which are going to get higher scores, but that was definitely up there. It's like one of the better Maddens. Alright. Fisher Price Learn in Toyland. It's not an edutainment game. It's a like a very childish like mini game that I played too. I played it for the first time like in 20 years the other day. Well, actually a month ago, as you can see, because it was so nostalgic playing it. It's just a game where you just go around doing stupid like 3-year-old activities, which, hey, I don't care if I'm 28. It's fun as shit to play them again, especially after haven't played them in 20 years and all that. But it's just a very simple game. So, probably going to give it... This is actually really stupid. because it's short and it's so cheesy for a 28-year-old to play a game that's more for like 3-year-olds. But I'm gonna give it 70 because it still is nostalgic and fun. Mario Kart Wii, which I believe is the 6th game in the Mario Kart series that came out for the Wii. The game, oh boy. On the one hand, it's easier than a lot of the Mario Kart games I've played. It's still up there, it's really hard. And it got really frustratingly annoying as I got into like the 150cc cups and all that. So it kind of dampened my mood a little bit, so I'm going to give it a 70. Donkey Konga, oh my god, I haven't played this in a long time. This is a 2004 rhythm game where you play as Donkey Kong, but the game, it came with a special controller called a Donkey Konga, which is like a drum or Congo that you have to bang on and clap in front of it in order to activate the game's like controls. It's a rhythm game where you have to play like music, where it has like music, real life actual music. It even had Pokemon's original theme song from the anime that you had to like clap and beat the drum to get as high score as possible. Man, that game really did hurt my wrists a lot, and clapping too a lot. Like a lot of them got really difficult in terms of like the combos you had to do. Like some of them you had to hit one side of the drum, then quickly go to the other one and hit all of them in the middle and clap and all that. Oh man, that was really tough. But it was fun, but man, that did hurt my wrist a lot. I would give it a 73. I actually still have the controller too out front, out in the back, I think, too. Just hanging up there and not being able to use it since I don't think I have the game right now. Yeah, we got a long way to go. I might end off part 2 soon. Let's see how long I've been streaming for. An hour and 12 minutes. I haven't gotten that far at all compared to last time. I got to 2 hours last time. I'll keep going at least a little bit longer. Because, man, we got a lot of games still to go for 10 to 100 hours. Jeez. Alright, up here. Alright, let me move a little bit. Ah, it feels much better. Alright, next up is Bravely Default, which is an RPG adventure game. I talked about Bravely Default 2 yesterday when I got to it. This, I pretty much explained all about Bravely Default. This one I actually know about the story more, since I've played pretty much the entire thing. You play as Tiz, ring a bell, Edna, and I can't remember her last name. And you go around trying to revive all these crystals too, that were having trouble and all that. It's been a couple years, so I don't remember the exact plot off the top of my head, but I know it a lot better than the other one. The game is pretty fun. Although, there are some bosses that are really OP hard, even when I'm at max level, too. But it's still really good, but it takes a long time. There's one point in the game where it kind of, like, makes you restart all over again. Like, for, like, lost memory and all that, which is really stupid. But it still is fun, so 78. I need to get back to it again eventually. Command Conquer Red Alert. Looks like the original Red Alert. Yeah. Alright. So this is another spin-off of the Command & Conquer series. I talked about the Tiberium series, but there's actually 3 universes in the Command & Conquer series. So this is the Red Alert series. So the plot of the Command & Conquer Red Alert series is, right after World War II, Albert Einstein made a time machine, which he went back in time to where he killed Hitler to try and stop World War II from happening. But instead what happened is it caused an alternate World War II where the Soviet Union invaded all of Europe. So that's what Red Alert takes place in 1946 to 1952, as you play as the Allies in the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is trying to conquer all of Europe to establish communism across Eurasia, and the Allies all of Europe are trying to stop Stalin. I did not get far whatsoever. I only got to like the second mission as the Allies, because the Allies are really hard to play as. The Soviets are so much more fun because they're so OP, and I got really far into the Soviet campaign. I haven't played that Soviet save I had on my old Dell laptop since like 2011, I think. I got like pretty damn far into it. This is definitely a lot better like the last other Command & Conquer games. And it has skirmish, which is the first time too, which is really nice. And this was, Sly Free. Oh, I hit the wrong one by mistake. This was the most financially successful Command & Conquer game too. And it's, even though I haven't gotten far as the Allies, the game still is really fun and all that. So I will give it an 85, which is definitely up there for the Command & Conquer games. Sly Free Honor Among Thieves, which is the last Sly Cooper game I've played when I did the YouTube series of it back in the fall and such. Alright, so Sly Cooper, the Sly Free series, it's Sly Cooper where you play as Sly Cooper who is a the last living member of the Cooper clan, which are a clan of master thieves that go around stealing stuff from other thieves. And this one, he was trying to stop Dr. M from stealing the loot in the Cooper vault. I do not like Sly Free Honor Among Thieves as much. It's so far my least favorite of the Sly games. I haven't played Thieves in time yet, sadly. It's mostly come down to the game is just way too hard. And I don't like how they changed the controls on them, made the enemies much harder in that regard. It just really wasn't fun. It was like so difficult. But I'll give it... Honestly, this might be a way higher score. I'm going to give it this high score just because it's Sly Cooper and I love the lore at least. The lore and the story at least saved it. A 75. But otherwise, if it went for that, I would probably put closer to like 60. Like, it really is that unfun because it's so hard. Pokemon Snap, I talked about before when I did new Pokemon Snap. It's just a game where you go around taking pictures of Pokemon. It's a really stupid game, but it's really nostalgic. So, give it a 75. Pikmin! Alright. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So, I did a playthrough of this back in 2020. Pikmin, you play as Captain Olimar, who was on vacation, and he got struck by a meteor, which made him crash into a Earth that's 100 million years so in the future, and he has to fix his ship in time in 30 days before he dies, and collect 30 ship parts, and he has to use Pikmin, which he discovered, to help him get all the treasures. This game, of the Pikmin games, I don't like this one as much. It's probably my least favorite Pikmin game because it is hard. It's the shortest because of the 30-day time limit, but man, is it punishingly hard. And I don't like that. So I would give it a 70 at least. Just barely. Oh, this is so nostalgic. Monopoly. This is the 1995 PC version of Monopoly. It's the board game Monopoly I'm sure everyone knows about, especially if you watch on Adam's channel, because I've streamed, I've been on his channel streaming, playing Monopoly multiple times. This was like one of the first video games along with Command & Conquer for the PC to play online too, which is nice. This is really nostalgic. The music is awesome. The effects in that game are so cool. And this is really nostalgic, which I hope to show later. I literally have a save file where I played as me and my friends that was made back in April of 2000 that's still ongoing. Yeah. Imagine a Monopoly game going on for almost 22 years. I never finished. It sounds like the last two people, but I never got around to it yet to finish it. I got the saves on the Alienware right here, but I have to set up the virtual box still for it to play it. This is a really, really good game. Like, I have really no complaints about it. So, gonna give it an 88. Yep, really high up there. That's the third highest score in games so far on this list. Alright, let's see how much farther before I get to 100. Yeah, I don't think... I might end it off soon, because even though it's only been, let's see, like, not even an hour and a half yet. Yeah, I want to end it off soon, because I want to go do some other things. But I'll do a few more games, though, at least. Alright. Next up, Mario Party 2. It came out in 1999. It's just normal, standard old Mario Party. It added items and costumes and all that. It's good. 78, though. The only problem is that it did do a lot of similar mini games from Mario Party 1, just change like textures and all that. Madden Nfl 03, I don't like as much. It's a 2002 season because the schedule is fucked up too in the game where you do franchise mode. Can't play the game itself because of lag, and the playoff shit's all fucked up, so gotta give it a 60. Halo 2. I don't want to talk about the lore much of this game. I've already talked about it somewhat when I did Halo Master Chief Collection, but I love the Halo series. It's my favorite and my only FPS game I play, so I give it an 85. It's a long one, though, and pretty not difficult, but there's parts of it where it's like so ridiculously long you get stuck in. Barbie Horse Adventures Wild Horse Rescue. This is an adventure game in the Barbie universe where you ride horses and you have to go find horses too to escape the pen during a storm. This game got terrible reviews and I honestly don't understand how. I really don't see anything wrong with the game. It's short, yes. Graphically it's fine. It's not hard, which is a major plus in my regard, and it's just really enjoyable. Now, I'm not going to give it 100, though, just because there's nothing wrong with it, but it's definitely really fun. I'll give it an 83. Oh, 80, there we go, 83. That game is really fun, and I love when people give me shit still for playing a Barbie game. Get over it. I play it for the horse aspect, not Barbie. The Herb Sims in the City, which is a spin-off of Sims, where it takes place in, like, suburbia instead. What? No, urban area. Now, depending on what you play, because mostly this one I played on the DS version where you play as a character and you have to stop. I can't remember his name, but it's some old man who is trying to take over the city that you're in. You have to stop him. The game is pretty difficult, though, in terms of getting your needs met and all that. That's incorrect. And some of the missions in order to make money are really difficult, but it at least gets a 70. That critic score is just wrong. Mad Games Tycoon, which is I played a lot on YouTube for a series, remember, which is going to be coming up soon in my list if I remember correctly. But Mad Games Tycoon is a video game series where you run a video game development company. I don't like this one as much compared to Mad Games Tycoon 2 because it's too hard. Even on easy, it's kind of difficult to do. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it like a 73. Plus, it's not as good detailed in a lot of ways, too. If it was easier, I'd probably give it a higher score. Alright, so next up, Monster Hunter Rise. I've already talked about what I had to say about Monster Hunter Rise when I got to the demo. Really like the game. It would be nice if it's a little bit more easier with some of the weapons too, but it's still really fun. And I still think it might be my favorite Switch game of all time, but I don't think it's a 95 or better score though, like I gave Mario Party Superstars. But I'll give it a 93, which is now the second highest scoring game just behind Mario Party Superstars. Alright. Maybe a little more. Maybe a few more. Maybe I'll stop soon. I don't know where to stop else. I guess I'll just keep going until I feel like stopping. NASCAR Rumble. It's a NASCAR game. It's like the Mario Kart version of NASCAR. We race on circuits. You have to deal with disasters. The races are kind of challenging, but it's more due to the obstacles, the items you can use. Like there's tornadoes, which permanently travel across the map, so you have to slow down to avoid getting sucked up into them. Same goes for storms and freezing and all that. But otherwise, if it wasn't for that, it would probably be easy. But it definitely is a lot of fun. So 78. Monster Jam. I already talked about Monster Jam earlier. I already talked about pretty much with Urban Assault and Path of Destruction. That's not fair. They're not that bad. I'll give it at least a 70. They're not that bad. I'm surprised the community gave it a 40. Like, I would give that for, like, Steel Titans now, since those games suck compared to BeamNG and Riggs Rods, but Monster Jam doesn't deserve it in that comparison. That's kind of bad. Donkey Kong 64, it's an adventure platformer based on Donkey Kong to stop King Cool Rule. I don't like it, though, because it's just way too hard, and the controls a lot of times are really bad, so 60. Oh, boy, this is going to be funny. Oh, this is funny. Demon Master Chris. It's a visual novel, eroge, combined with an RPG, where you play as Chris. You have to go around in all these dungeons catching monsters, which are actually women. And this is like, it actually does remind me of Pokemon a lot, but the game is an eroge, so it's pornographic, and oh my god, this is too funny. In order to catch monsters in this game, you have to get them naked before you can catch them. And unfortunately, the catch rate, too, is kind of shit. It's really low, but you have to get them naked first in order to get. Oh my god. And Chris always getting this, like, just fucked up situations where she's getting fucked by, like, everything in the sun. It is so funny, but the missions itself, in order to, the game, if you play on easy, is pretty easy. But in order to beat, like, the game, in order to, like, see, like, the official ending, like, the true ending, you have to play on hard difficulty, and, oh, my God, is it hard. And the experience gain on that is really stingy, too. Like, in order to gain any experience, like, 25% experience, you have to battle monsters that are 5 levels higher than you, and that's, like, suicidal. And if you battle someone around you, you only gain like 1% EXP. So you have to battle like 100 times in order to gain a level of it. Ugh. It's just annoying. It's a hard game. It is funny. The music's awesome. But probably not going to get as high of a score as it otherwise would be. I'd probably give it a 73. Woo! Another GTA best based off game. Simpsons Hit and Run. Simpsons Hit and Run is very good. It's the GTA version of The Simpsons. As Homer, Marge, Lisa, Bart, and Apu are trying to stop an alien invasion. So yeah, it's very, very good. I actually got the ISO for it, so I can actually do a YouTube series for it, and I want to, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's very fun though. Although it is hard too, especially in later stuff, but give it an 80. Alright, Stuntman Ignition. It's the sequel to Stuntman. As I mentioned before, it's a game where you're a stunt driver and you have to do stunt scenes and all that. Oh boy. On the one hand, it's easier than Stuntman to do missions, because Stuntman is like notoriously punishingly hard in order to do missions, which isn't good. But Stuntman, Ignition has a thing where you have to get 5 stars in order to... No, in Stuntman Ignition, instead of just beating a scene and then going onward, you have to you have to earn enough stars in order to advance forward into the game for the next scene. And in order to get enough stars, like 5 stars, you have to do one giant combo. So you have to keep doing all these combos throughout the entire scene, which is very difficult. Although I've tried it before, I even got, I think, up to the first 4 movies 5 stars, which is quite impressive now looking back on it, despite how hard it was. But that makes it pretty difficult in itself. But the missions itself are a lot easier than Stuntman. But the thing that I liked most about Stuntman was the stunt constructor area, because that had a monster truck in, so I can make all these stunt areas with like cars everywhere, bus stacks and all that, so you can make awesome monster truck stuff. But although it's an Ignition, I don't enjoy it as much. Although there is a monster truck in there, it's just not enjoyable. I don't even think there's cars for you to crush either. It's just not good in that regard. So even though it's easier, I think it's worse than the original Stuntman, so I had to give it a 65. Rita Rabbit First Grade, I already said what I had to say about it. You play as Rita Rabbit, go around. This one, they're doing a play, and this character, Spike the Porcupine, I think he was, steals the equipment to do the play, and Rita Rabbit has to get him back by doing, like, first grade level, like, math and stuff like that. It still is fun, though, and I have beaten it multiple times. I give it a 70. Oh boy, Molkiri. That's an RPG. I've done a YouTube series on it since 2017, but I haven't finished it yet. It's an RPG. It's a tactical RTS. Kind of like an RTS too at the same time. Where you play as Irusu? I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Oh, Iruse, I think it was. And you had to save her mother and figure out other stuff too. I already beat the story. Interesting, but very hard. I had to max out my level in order to beat it, and even that was barely enough. Now the challenges though are like unbelievably hard, to the point that pisses me off immensely about the game. Ugh. That's why I've been doing a YouTube series since 2017. I haven't been able to finish it because the strategies in this game are so punishingly difficult. You can't deviate from anything. Like one screw up and boom, you're dead. Unfortunately, it's really annoying. So I have to just give it a 70. If it was easier, I'd give it a higher score because it definitely deserves it. Alright. Oh, wow. 4 visitors showed up now. 4 viewers showed up now, since it was like 2 a minute ago. So maybe I'll go a little bit longer, because I was thinking about ending off soon. So anyways, Command & Conquer Renegade. It's the only Command & Conquer game that's not an RTS. Instead, it's a first-person shooter that takes place at the end of the first Tiberium War in Command & Conquer Tiberium Dawn, which I reviewed earlier. And you play as the commando of Command & Conquer Tiberium Dawn, Havoc, and you play as him just going around stop and nod, pretty much. Simple. It's fun, but it's really hard at the end. I never got to beat the game 2 on the final board, too, which really pissed me off. I'd give it a 70 at least. Re-Rabbit Kindergarten. This one you don't play as Re-Rabbit, though. It's Minnie the Mouse. And same thing, Spike steals campground stuff, so you have to do like math and all that in order to get the stuff again. I played recently. It still is nostalgic fun, but I'll give it a 75. Destroy All Humans 2. I don't want to say much about the plot because I will eventually do a YouTube series on that. It changes a lot, though, of the Destroy All Humans games. It made it easier, too, in a lot of ways. So I give it a 78, actually, because it's really funny. Mario Party 4. It's the first Mario Party game for the GameCube. Really fun. It added a whole bunch of stuff to it. So 78, I think. Mario Kart Super Circuit is the third Mario Kart game for the Game Boy Advance. That game is unbelievably hard, but I did beat it nonetheless. The controls are garbage though, and the weapons and all that, so it's not going to get as good of a score otherwise compared to how it was at the beginning. So 70. Super Mario 3D All-Stars. It's a combination of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Now, of course, I mainly got the game for Sunshine 64 because I love those games. I don't have them on this list, believe it or not, though, yet, I don't think, since I had just focused on Super Circuit. I don't like Galaxy, though, so far when I played. I haven't played it in, like, 2 months. Like, I literally... I did Super Circuit by mistake. Like, 3D All-Stars, I played mostly for, 64 and Sunshine, which I played the entirety of it, and I haven't played in 2 months, and I only played a little bit of Galaxy. That shows how little I've played it otherwise. So, it still is good, though, because of Galaxy, Sunshine and 64, but not for Galaxy. So, I would give it an 83 to balance it out. Alright, The Sims 3. It's the sequel to the Sims series, which is the first... Wait. Hold on a minute. Where's Sims 4? I just remembered it. Wait, what? Okay, Sims 4 is not showing up on this list when it should have because it's the least played Sims game on this list. That's weird. I'm going to have to look into that and find out why it's not... Wait, maybe hidden? Yeah, okay, there it is. I don't know why it's hidden. That was a mistake. Alright. No, turn that off. So, I'm going to go back down here where was Sims 4 at. I don't have no idea how that got hidden. It should be around... I don't see it yet. Alright. Let me look for it again. Here we go. Alright, I'll start right here since I missed it. SimCity 4, it's a life simulator where you play as Sims and you control their lives and all that. This is the most recent one. It came out in 2014. I don't like Sims 4. It's like it's the worst of the the Sims games, and the community really doesn't like it. They did like a National Dex fuck up at the beginning when it came out in 2014, where they removed features that were literally base game from all the previous free games, toddler stage, pools, and it just wasn't fun. All that. There's some things that are cool about it, but it just doesn't have the same enjoyment as I do the other games. Despite, so I have to give it a low score for that regard. It's the worst of the Sims games. So now I gotta get back to Sims 3. It was somewhere, it was like 69 hours, I think, or something like that. Here we go. Alright, Sims 3. I'll end it probably in a little bit. So anyways, where was it? Sims 3, here we go. Sims 3 came out in 2009. It adds some cool features to it. I don't like the wish system on there compared to like wants and needs in Sims 2. It has a cool feature where Sims grow up in your neighborhood, which is really cool. So you can just focus on one Sim and everyone still grows up. Whereas on 2, you have to play each house in order for them to grow up. Although I don't like it at the same time because I like to individually control Sims at the same time, which is impossible. And there was one thing I really didn't... Oh yeah, you can't make neighborhoods in this game. You have to buy them. And I don't like that. And there's no, like, Sims automatically generated in those towns anyway. So I'm, like, really limited to what I can play as. And I don't like it as much. It's not as bad as 4, but I don't like it as much. So I give it a 65. It's the second worst of the Sims games so far. But nowhere near as bad as Sims 4. That was bad. Alright, I think I know where I'm going to leave it off right now. I think I'll do the next 5. So anyways, the Game of Life, this is the 1998 version of Game of Life. Just like, this is up there, although I haven't played it yet on YouTube, this is like up there with like Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, and Bugs Bunny Lost in Time as one of my favorite PS1 games. It's really nostalgic, really funny, really good, classic Game of Life. There's like literally nothing wrong with the game. So you know what? For the first time in this series, it's going to get 100. The first game with 100 score, so now it's the highest scoring game of the series, of all the games I reviewed so far. It's that fucking good. Beetle Adventure Racing, it's a racing game where you drive on Volkswagen Beetles. Controls on it are really tough. Classic crashes though. Racing though is pretty difficult, so I would give it a 70 at least. Zoo Tycoon DS I mentioned earlier. It's Zoo Tycoon but on the DS. It's fun. The one problem is you can only do one zoo at a time, so you can either do a custom zoo or scenarios. So that kind of sucks. But I religiously played this a lot, like Nintendo Dogs, which I mentioned before. When I did my top 10 games like a few weeks ago, it's at least a 70. But the PC version's much better. All right, the next up, Sims Pet Stories. This is kind of a spin-off of the Sims games, where at the end of the game it does play mostly like normal Sims games, but at the beginning it's a story-based game where you have two towns you can play as, and you play as one character. One town village you play as a woman who has a dog, and her house is being foreclosed on, and she has to win a dog skill contest in order to make money to get the to pay off the foreclosure. But the woman who's foreclosed on her is a mean, evil cunt who's like trying to rig the contest so she doesn't win the house, get the house back, because she's trying to get the house for herself. And the other one is a man who has a cat, and I can't quite remember off the top of my head what it was about because it's been only played it one time. The stories is really good, and it plays like normal Sims, which is really good. So 80. Although there are some things about it that are not like normal Sims, it has new things to it that are not normal Sims either, but it's still really good. Alright, I think I'll leave it off right here with the last one. Sly 2 Band of Thieves. So, Sly 2 Band of Thieves, it takes place right after the first Sly Cooper game where the gang tries to get Clockwork's parts back from the Claw Gang and all that. This is considered the best Sly Cooper game in the series, and I concur. Very good, not that difficult. I don't like the getting bottles, though. That's the one thing that's really annoying. But it's really good, and I love the lore of it. It's gonna get a 90. It's definitely the best Sly Cooper game. Alright. So let's see, how far have I gotten? That's gonna be a challenge, but I think I might be able to do that in the next stream. Let's see, I've done now. I won't go down. Let me see something. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 65, 66, So I've done 114 games, whereas the last stream I did like 120 something. So I've gotten like a third of them done now from the night so far, which is really good. But that means we still got like 120 still to go, or 130 to go in the next stream, which I'll do in the next one. That was a long one. So now we have new records broken in terms of high scores. So now the highest scoring game, first one to get 100, going the wrong way, is the Game of Life with a score of 100, a perfect score, well deserved. And then second is Mario Party Superstars with 95, then the Monster Hunter Rise with 93, and then Retro Bowl and Sly 2 Band of Thieves with 90 each. Shatter and a whole bunch of other games. As the games go up more, as I play more of them, they're going to get higher scores as they're games I enjoy the most. So I can't wait to get to them. So we still got like 130 more games to go though before we finish it off. So I hope you all enjoyed this stream, as I'm going to wrap it up here and see you maybe tomorrow for the final part 3. So